Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. I'm going to share with you perspective and analysis from 10 different XRP chart analysts in this very latest Moon Lambo hot jam, including one who believes that what we experienced in November after the election, that massive run-up which bled into December, that's about to happen again. And I'll tell you this also. It's just so fascinating that every XRP chart analyst that I follow out there believes, number one, that a new all-time high is coming. Finally, after over 7 years, price discovery will actually occur. And also, two, the vast majority believe that XRP hitting double-digit price action this market cycle isn't just probable, but like insanely probable. Like the more conservative analysts out there, they still acknowledge that XRP could hit $10 this cycle, with very few exceptions to that. And so it makes me wonder if the analysts that think it's going to go higher, like $15, $20, $25, I wonder if they're correct. But I don't know. We're going to find out together. I mean, the conservative analysts, they could be right here. But, the people that are actually regularly charting this, the ones who don't suffer from XRP derangement syndrome, are talking very consistently about $10 plus. And that's just going to be so wildly life-changing for so many people listening right now if that happens. I know it, because a lot of us have been here a really long time, years and years and years, through all the SEC nonsense, and now we're finally going to get ours. The question is, when? Right? Well, probably sooner than later. I mean, there are a lot of analysts that think that in the very short term, if you're really talking on the lower time frame, yeah, you could see a little bit of a pullback with Bitcoin, XRP, the entire crypto asset class, but it's not going to matter. On a higher time frame, we still going to go. We're going to get ours. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, as I record this video, it is 8:03 p.m. Central Time, Tuesday, April 29th, 2025. XRP is $2.24. Bitcoin is at $94,469. But it was above, what did it get to? Like 96,000-ish recently? Pretty close to it anyway. Maybe, I guess, a little bit shy of it the other day. But XRP got as high as $2.35. Take a look at this headline from Cointelegraph. Bitcoin targets $115,000 as Bitcoin supply metric nears historic euphoria zone. As of April 28th, approximately 86.9% of all Bitcoins were in profit. Bitcoin coins? That's a weird. Just say Bitcoins. According to on-chain data resource CryptoQuant, historically, the metrics climb into the 85 to 90% range has signaled a transition from healthy optimism to speculative euphoria among traders. Between October and December 2024, for instance, Bitcoin's price climbed from around $80,000 to over $100,000, a rally coinciding with Bitcoin's profitable supply rising from under 80% to as high as 99%. Yeah, and so that should be no surprise. Obviously, as Bitcoin's hitting new all-time highs, that means that just about everybody that purchased it, almost 100% of humans on the planet, of course, would be in profit. But that's only while it's at the new all-time high. Of course, since it even slightly dips below that percentage changes a little bit. But the point they're making is not lost on me here. So historically, when this happens, it can mean that that next major move is going to happen, and that is what we're waiting for. And so I thought I'd highlight this because that's just more confluence here. Here's a post from chart analyst TechDev, rare Bitcoin inflection loading, and he's been sharing versions of this chart quite a bit recently. You can see, most importantly here, liquidity, that's the line in the middle here, and then you got Bitcoin here at the top, and I'm just going to keep pointing this out, and he's going to keep highlighting it as well also. As liquidity increases, like as that happens, those funds, acquired by businesses and individuals, they got to get put somewhere. So as liquidity increases, invariably, some of those funds are going to make it into risk-on assets, like stocks and cryptocurrencies. There's just a bit of a lead time on that, 10 to 12 weeks, but you can see liquidity's rising, and so usually what happens, the strong majority of the time, is Bitcoin's actually going to follow. It doesn't mean that there's a perfect correlation, as I've shown in recent days. You can go back over a decade, and it's not a perfect correlation, but it's usually correlating the strong majority of the time. So if you want to guess, is it going to follow this? If you just guess yes consistently, you'll be right most of the time. So, and again, it's more confluence here. Take a look at this. Here's a post from chart analyst Mustache. Crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin. That's the total 2 chart, of course. He says, did you know that Total 2 has not only reclaimed the EMA 100 weekly line, but also a trend line that has been intact for 1.5 years? It's hard to be bearish. Q1 was apparently a deviation. And that happens in charting. I understand. And I don't think that the tariff stuff particularly helped, all the fear out there, the uncertainty. Without that stuff, maybe you wouldn't have even seen a deviation. But either way, look what's happening now. More confluence, friends. Here's a post from ChartingGuy. This is the crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin and ETH. That's called the Total 3 chart. And he said, Total 3, if the mid-May pullback happens, it'll likely be your last opportunity to accumulate at good prices. Yeah. So he believes XRP, it's going to rip, hit. I forget what his prediction is. He might have said $8. I can't remember if he was predicting closer to 10. I'd have to look that up. It doesn't matter, though. Price discovery for XRP, firmly believes that. And expansion for the entire crypto market. He firmly believes that's coming. So even if there is a final pullback, and even if it's a couple of weeks from now, fine. He doesn't have high conviction that it's even going to happen. He's just acknowledging it could happen, but he's just going to see it as an opportunity. But eventually, you're going to have that final dip if we haven't already had it, and then you really do start moving to the upside. Here's a post from Melius. This is the crypto total market cap, excluding the top 10 coins by market cap, and this is a dominance percentage chart. That's the others.d chart, D standing for dominance, of course. Others dominance seems to be well placed for a potential rally higher. And this is what I keep seeing. So many analysts are like, yeah, even if it's not this second, and even if there's another pullback, this is what I keep seeing. Looks like it's primed to go higher. And with XRP outperforming the broader crypto market, what do you think that means for XRP? Well, probably price discovery, finally, which is what we've been waiting for. And how about Ethereum? Price for Ethereum has been in the gutter. Now, this makes people lose hope when this type of price action happens. Just like so many people had written off XRP, including throughout 2024. And I pointed out that historically, when the price is in the gutter that severely, those are actually the moments of maximum opportunity. And I insisted that throughout 2024. And once you know, when the market heated up, XRP popped to the upside, the #1 performing coin out of the top 100 since the election, which shouldn't be surprising because XRP was artificially suppressed for years. And now that it's not, it's just, it's playing a bit of catch up here. But just because Ethereum's been in the gutter, that doesn't mean it's the end of the world for it. That's just... Price in and of itself is not necessarily an indicator of the long-term viability of a product. In this case, we're talking about cryptocurrencies. So the fact that it's low, it doesn't mean that it makes sense to forever be a bear specifically because of that. And this is important because, if Ethereum really has bottomed here, just know that when it goes, that's been a signal in previous cycles for the entire market to go. Alt season, folks. So if it really is bottoming here, it's about to go, that could be very good for everything else, including XRP. And so Crypto Wizard here wrote, historical bottom. The more bearish you are, the more bullish I am. Ethereum continues to follow Tesla to perfection. A historical bottom may have formed. I'm actively positioning daily. So you got Ethereum on the left and Tesla on the right. He's just saying it's the same, effectively the same chart formation there. So he has confidence, yeah, it's probably bottom. Here's another one from Crypto Wizard. This is an XRP BTC chart. And the rest of the video, it's going to be all XRP. It says, hold on tight. I repeat, when it can't break down, there's only one way. Up. XRP BTC is trying to break out of a falling wedge within a symmetrical triangle after faking out. This is even more bullish. Only a matter of time for XRP. And you can see on the chart, he wrote bullish triangle breakout sends XRP rocketing. Down here, he wrote a fake out attempt and reversing with a falling wedge breakout. Just a matter of time, folks. Nobody can know for sure when this is going to happen, but it's coming. And how about this one? This is another XRP BTC chart. This is from ChartingGuy. And he wrote, XRP BTC has been sideways for 5 months. What if wave 4 is repeating wave 2? Well, you can see what he put a fractal here. You can see what wave 4 would be. It would basically be the same as 2 if you just paste it down there. What that would mean for XRP denominated in the US dollar would be absolutely freaking gigantic. And there's precedent for this. In each of the last 2 cycles when XRP went for the first time, it then consolidated for half a year before blasting off yet again. So, maybe what happened in November is about to repeat again. And look at how long it's been consolidating. Like, that's just showing tremendous strength for XRP. The wider the base, the higher in space. You know that dorky phrase? meaning the longer something consolidates, the greater the force with which it bursts when it finally does. Yes. Just wait, folks. This thing is not done. Here's a post from chart analyst Dom. XRP versus Total 2. It says, when you chart XRP versus the altcoin market, it shows a clear picture. XRP continues to massively hold its ground against the broader market. 400% rally, followed by 3 months of sideways action. It surely looks nothing like the last tops since 2020. Yeah, isn't that kind of wild? So here's the short term. These are both XRP Total 2 charts. So here you can see what's happened this year and then, most of 2024. Just incredible strength. And if you put pretty much any other altcoin here instead of XRP and then denominate it in Total 2, it'll just like where my mouse is moving, it'll just be like cratering down this way. That's what's been happening in 2025. Not XRP. It's the #1 performer. And so, and here it is going back about half a decade. And this is why I keep saying, like, as it was bottoming out here throughout 2024, this is the moment when I said, yeah, XRP looks piss poor against Bitcoin, looks piss poor against the rest of the market. And here, in this case, we're talking about Total 2. That's the moment of maximum opportunity. And that was true. It was roughly in here. I didn't know for sure when the bottom was. Nobody did, but it was obviously around there. And so all I'm saying now is that we're in a similar situation, just that the next phase, it'll be price discovery, not just a new all-time high. Here's a post from chart analyst Martinez. XRP looks to be breaking out of an inverse head and shoulders pattern with a potential upside target between $2.70 and $2.90. So in the short term, he's thinking this thing is going to go up, and not that would be the all-time high, or not that would be the high for the cycle, of course. From this point moving forward, obviously it already hit a new all-time high. Here's a post yesterday afternoon from Cryptos. XRP 4-hour closed below resistance. Likely we see a move to lower support. I just thought I'd highlight this because it's interesting. That's what happened. He thought that this is what was going to occur. Here we are over 24 hours later. And yeah, went a little bit lower. Nothing insane. And he's still calling for a massive breakout, price discovery of the cycle, just like the rest of the analysts. Here's a post from chart analyst Crypto Tony, XRP USD update, holding my long firmly above $2. And that's pretty much all he keeps posting over the last 6 weeks, it seems like, which is fine. I'm just highlighting that his conviction hasn't changed. Here's a post from X-Force Global, who simply wrote XRP and noting what he thinks is going to happen. Ultimately getting up to, looks like, close to $28 for XRP. And there are lots of analysts that think we're going to be hitting that type of price range. I don't know if we will. Maybe the more conservative analysts are correct. We'll see. I don't know. But either way, again, for people that have been here for a number of years, I know anywhere up there, it's going to be wildly life-changing for so many people. And tons of analysts are very comfortable saying, yeah, we're going to be hitting double digits. $10 plus. Not wild stuff here. Here's a post from Mikey Bull Crypto from this morning. XRP massive expansion incoming. $4 to $6 remains the potential target. And that doesn't mean he thinks it's going to peak here. In fact, here's a post from March 14th this year from Mikey Bull Crypto, when he indicated that you could even potentially see as high as $10 this market cycle for XRP. Here's a post from chart analyst Cryptoica. He thinks that this thing's going to run up to $9 to $10 as indicated by this chart. He's basically arguing it's a similar thing to what happened back in 2017. That's where he thinks we're going to be. And again, that's what I keep seeing. There's also this headline from the Cryptobasic: massive breakout brewing. XRP 1-week bull flag could launch price toward $10. And they're sharing perspective from an analyst I'm not very familiar with, but I happen to throw into one of my videos just because I can't find a negative chart analyst out there. It's almost impossible. It really is. I mean, unless you're talking about people with XRP derangement syndrome, but even then, they have shut their stupid little face holes to a degree that is not normal because they've been getting egg on their face, so they stopped talking about XRP because it's the #1 performer. Go figure, right? But anyway, there's an analyst here named Scient, or SCIENT. Anyway, they're just noting that it's just another analyst saying, hey, this is a bull flag formation. That's what he says anyway. And that XRP's targeting $10. I keep seeing this double-digit price action. I will not be surprised to see it happen. I really won't. Here's a post from chart analyst C-Grade Crypto. XRP, Blue Ocean, $9.50, $17, and $27. Yes, it's that simple. A big green mega candle is on the way. My timeline has been mentioned countless times. Right now, we're swimming with the sharks, and remember, sharks can't be tamed. You either kill them, or they'll eat you alive. With XRP futures, expect volatility to be the new normal. Number go up, folks. Number go up. This is not done. And if history rhymes, like I just told you what happened each of the last 2 cycles, XRP ran, moved sideways for half a year roughly, and there's a certain amount of volatility, of course, pretty volatile. And then it just went. So this would, I mean, if history's going to kind of rhyme with itself, like roughly speaking, this would be the time for it to do it. And maybe the analysts that think that you're going to see a pop off later this year, like August, September, October. I mean, maybe they're right. It'd be nice to not have to wait that long, but at this point, it's not that big a deal, honestly. I've been waiting over 7 years, so I will wait patiently however long I have to. But what's that? Is that the worst case scenario? You have to wait until this fall? Maybe. I don't think it's probable that we're just not going to see a final euphoric blow off top for the cycle. That would be kind of ridiculous. So anyway, lots of reasons to be very optimistic for the future. I'll just say that. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.